Okay, in this movie I'd like to talk about using the warp tool set and just kind of examining some of the tools that are provided in there. I've just drawn out a basic circle in Illustrator, and I think the first thing I'm going to do is just apply a stroke, and let's increase its point size a little bit so we can see it. And new with CS5 is this width tool, which has to do with stroke width. So if I click on any part of this path, I can click and drag out, and you'll notice I have these little control handles, and that all of a sudden provides me with some ability to adjust the stroke. So I can come in just along anywhere on the path, and let's see if I can find one of these guys. There we go. Here's one of those points, and just click and drag it out, or I can also pinch it back in. That does it. So I'm just looking for points on the path that I can affect. So as you work with it, and by the way, I'm just clicking and dragging now just anywhere, you can see I can get these lumps. I can drag one way or the other, so I can pinch or pull it in, and also lets you reposition its spot on the path. So that's kind of nice. If you want to build kind of a non-uniform stroke, in the old days you would actually draw this out separately from the interior fill, but now you can just go along the edge and take care of that. Okay, I'm going to go back and get rid of this shape. There we go. Let's start with another circle. So anyway, that's kind of a minor addition, but I think in certain applications it might be nice, especially for the Halloween poster. Think about that in places where the stroke looks too mechanical as you're drawing your shapes and you want them to have more of a hand-drawn look. You might go in and adjust the stroke a little bit. I think it runs the risk of suffering from over management, but try it out, see what you think. So underneath the width tool, there's the traditional set of warp tools, and in fact I'm going to just tear this off so that we can look at each of them pretty easily. And the first one is just the warp tool. If I grab that, I have a certain brush size, and as I push in to a shape, it basically just distorts that shape along its edge. So I can paint around this, basically kind of blur it. If you remember the blur, the smudge tool, specifically in Photoshop, this kind of reminds me of that. Of course, it's just a vector, so you don't get any of that smeary quality, but it does move the lines around. So that's just the warp tool. Then there's kind of this one-hit wonder, the twirl tool, and if you click on arrange along the edge, it'll twirl it up for you. The longer you hold it, the more it'll twirl. You can also drag out if you want to get a little bit of that. It seems like these days there's lots of artwork that I'm seeing, just textured artwork in the background of shapes that seem to have kind of this little twirl quality. So I don't know how much longer this will live its usefulness before it starts to seem completely outdated, but it's kind of fun. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and delete that and just build another circle. And of course you could keep modifying the circle with all kinds of tools here, but just so that we can see how each one works, that's why I'm deleting and redoing. Pucker tool is next, so as I move against a shape, it puckers the shape up. It actually seems to pucker towards the corner or the center part of the tool. So if I'm standing out here, it seems to come out towards it. If I'm in the interior, it moves towards it. By the way, you can change your brush size just by double-clicking on these and coming in and choosing what size brush you want. You can also, if you have a Wacom tablet or something similar, you could have it be pressure sensitive as well. Okay, let's take a look at what else is in here. We also have, if we have pucker, you got to have bloat. Bloat's the other way around. So as I come in here, let's see if I can push out. Yeah, notice I start on the inside and I push out and it bloats the shape out. I guess this is different from warp in that it's doing it in kind of a uniform way. It's doing it in the size of the brush I'm using. You know, and the blob brush kind of does this too. When you think about it, the blob brush just draws out outside of the original shape, except there it wasn't selected. Let's see if I have this selected. I'm going to get into a whole different thing here. So I'm obviously using that brush wrong. Let's come back and stick to what we've got here. So that's bloat. All these names just don't sound very healthy. Okay, the next one is the Scallop tool. And you can push these out. Scallops, if you've done woodworking, you've probably made little scalloped edges before or decorations. I think the effect isn't as neat looking as it shows on the icon. Let's try it with a rectangle and see what happens with a rectangle. Well, it kind of does it, but I'm not sold on it. Seems like it's pretty extreme, pretty fast. You can drag these out a bit, get some fun things happening. Obviously, at this point, I'm starting to create so many vectors, so many points. Let's zoom in. You can see it's got this stroke on it, and the stroke's being overwhelmed. If I get rid of the stroke, let's see what it looks like. Looks like a whole bunch of little hairs. Be careful about artwork like this. When you generate a whole lot of points, there is a penalty. Some PostScript printers will choke if they've got an image too many points around a particular object. So remember that Illustrator gives you plenty of rope to hang yourself with, and these little things that we're doing here might be good examples of that. But you know, a little bit of distortion is probably good. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. I'll drag out a rectangle this time. Next tool up. This is crystallize, I believe. Yep. So as I drag out, notice it flares out from the original. And this is another one of those fun ones. You can keep on doing it. Let's keep going out here. Same thing as what I said down below. Depending on the printer you're going to, might have some issues with this. So let's say, okay, you have an issue like that. What do? You still want to use this artwork. What can you do? You can export out the whole set of art. If I go under File to Export, I could export the whole thing as a TIFF image. And if I do that, then and I can choose resolution and all that kind of stuff. If I do that, then the whole bit of art is transformed. Or I suppose, let's see if they still have this. Yes, they do. I could rasterize a particular part of this. Rasterizing converts this to pixels. So if I choose that, notice it asks me basically it looks like the export menu. I choose the resolution I'm going to rasterize, and it's just going to be this little bit of artwork. Goes ahead and it builds a little pixel-based graphic for me. And if I zoom in close enough, you'll notice it's a whole bunch of pixels. But the advantage of that is it does print. This little guy is going to print now, whereas the original wouldn't. Notice that the original gets lost when you rasterize. So that's one trade-off. Again, you'd probably want to copy the original, put it in a layer that's hidden, and then just rasterize your artwork if you're having print problems. I wouldn't recommend doing this just as a matter of habit. It would be more if you're having troubles printing. Okay, And I think the last one is the wrinkle tool, and I'll just go ahead and use it on this shape. So wrinkle just kind of distorts the edges. Looks like it works in a vertical format. Doesn't seem like horizontal is a big effect. I wonder if I double click on this. So yeah, you could choose which angle. I guess we could choose something like 90 here. Now, yeah, now I get wrinkling happening along the edge and not much happening on the top or bottom. The longer I hold it for, notice it's kind of growing that thing out. So all of these tools that I've kind of gone over deal with permanently affecting the artwork. We're forever changing the artwork. If we go into outline mode, the artwork is forever altered. Down the road we'll talk about applying some effects. And effects are nice because they leave the original artwork intact, and they just apply kind of this overlay of change to it. Let me, just as a quick preview, here's an eclipse. I'm sorry, an ellipse, not an eclipse. Go under effect, and let's do one of these warps. We can see what it looks like. Apply some extra distortion. Okay, it's not severe, but notice that the original artwork, that circle, is still there. And in fact, if I open up the appearance palette or panel, notice that it has this effects showing up, warp twist. If I click on that, I can open it up, I can change it around, preview what it's going to do, make my adjustments. So this is a non-destructive way of applying edits too. It takes a little more memory because this artwork, it has to retain the original image and it has to remember how it's changed. But if you ever wanted to get rid of it, I could come in and just click the trash can and that little guy's gone. So slightly different way of altering artwork. But I hope this has been helpful.